another edition of the Loose Cannons podcast. I am your host, Sammer, and I'm hanging out with my boys, as always, Christian and Stank. And we have a special guest today, a very special guest, the first female guest on this show. I don't know if that's good or bad, but the amazing, the lovely Carmen Vitali.
Talented Carmen Vitali.
How you doing, Carmen?
Thanks, guys.
What's up, Carmen?
What's up, Carmen?
Doing wonderfully. Thank you guys so much for having me. It is my honor, my sincere honor.
We are excited to have you on here just because you're such a cool follow on Twitter. You're a staff writer for the Bucs who doesn't play the whole politically correct nonsense. You don't say what you're supposed to say. You just talk shit, and you're all for it whenever players talk shit. It's fucking awesome. It's so energizing. It's awesome because it feels like you're a real fan. It's freaking great. I love it, man.
I am a real fan, man. I mean, I may not be from this area, but it's not hard to be a fan of this team, especially when you learn more about them. And the guys that we have are so cool. So I want to, it's really all them. I just kind of feed off of it, and I'm ready to go to bat for all of them because I mama bear them. I mama bear them a lot.
Well, if you've been a fan of this team for a while, it is quite opposite of easy to be a fan for this team. It is quite the opposite.
I've gotten that.
Very true.
I've definitely gotten that.
We're sick individuals. You have to be an individual in the head to be. Yeah, it's rough. But I gotta know, Carmen. I gotta know. I'm gonna jump in here. I have to know.
Jump right in.
We've talked about this with the possibility. We've talked about this when it actually happened. Then we talked about this with that little 72-hour window when we didn't know there was no real ink to paper we didn't see. What does it feel like to actually have the GOAT in the building? Is there a different aura? Is there just a different energy in the room? It just the coffee tastes better, right? What's it like?
You actually do kind of start seeing things through a different lens. Because at least for me, I'm so what do you think Tom Brady thinks of this? You try and put yourself in his position almost. And see what he thinks. Granted, I've never been in the Patriots facilities. I don't know what he's used to, but you definitely kind of look around and you're like, okay, this could work. So just today we just put out the video of him coming into the building, and that was another it keeps hitting me in waves, and I was like, oh my god, he's my quarterback. I'm writing the words Bucs quarterback Tom Brady in every article, and it's just another wave of realization every single time.
It's crazy that it's surreal for everybody and not just the fans. We talked to Ryan Jensen. It's weird, it's weird for him. We talked to Matt Gay. It was weird for him. It's weird for everybody, even guys who play in the league.
Yeah.
BA said it today in his press conference. He said, I wish guys would just get the balls and just walk up to him and say, what's up? Just go talk to the guy. He's just a guy.
Yeah, he said that would have happened already had we had the off-season program, but now they're gonna have to get over their awe factor pretty quickly. And I mean, you saw one of the rookies, Chappelle Russell, was
that was awesome.
Tom Brady just said, "What's up" to me, and was that's literally all of our moods.
That's the tweet. That's it. Nothing else. And I saw Stank's tweet, by the way. Stank, great one. I love that one. We are, in case you didn't know, Carmen, we're world class now.
Yeah, we are world class.
We're world class now. I don't remember seeing that sign, but
that sign wasn't there before Tom Brady.
To be fair, that sign was up last year.
See, okay, that's what somebody said that, and listen, I just didn't see it before, but
they made it bigger. Now.
I agree.
Maybe it wasn't lit up or something. Tom Brady was signed, and all of a sudden, just this light shined down from heaven, and that sign just illuminated.
No, what it is that's the light that was coming off of Brady's body as he stood next to the sign. He illuminated.
Is it true when you walked in, as he walked in, doves just doves everywhere and
doves fly?
I was not there to see him actually walk through the threshold because I'm not allowed on that side of the building right now, unfortunately. But I heard there were doves. There were, of course,
damn.
doves.
Carmen, I was going to ask you what he smelled like, and now I can't ask you that question.
I don't know what he smells like yet. We'll see. But I'm
going to go with.
You have to promise us when you know what he smells like. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I want to hear from you. Just send me a DM or tweet it out. Just be like #LooseCannons. I know what he smells like, and that's all. That's it. You don't need to describe it.
Doesn't he smell like Stetson Cologne? No, don't we already know that?
Does he have his own? He has his own brand.
Gotta have a TB12 cologne, probably.
Yeah. But I imagine it's some sort of like woodsy, but like beachy, like, I don't know. It's probably just the
Beachy
culmination
muff.
of like freshly baked chocolate chip cookies and everything. Like,
Very
just
true.
wonderful,
All
right?
the things I love. All those things I love.
That sounds arousing, and yet I'm so hungry at the same time now. It's quite amazing. Carmen, I have to ask, okay, because you're just like us. You're basically a Bucs fan from what you told us. How was it like when you found out, holy shit, the Bucs are going to sign Tom Brady? The Bucs are going to sign fucking Tom Brady.
So I told you guys, like, I know enough to know that like the Bucs can't have nice things, right? So I was like, when I started hearing rumors super early, and I was like, did the same thing everybody else did, like, nah. But like I couldn't shake it right after that, and I was kind of like, I started rationalizing it to myself, and I was like, well, if he is gonna leave New England, like at that point it was like, what, the Chargers, the Titans, like I'm like, of all the teams that were like looking for quarterbacks, I'm like, we actually have a really good situation here. And so I leaned over to my cube mate, the guy that sits next to me, and his cube, and I poked my head over there, and I was like, just suspend all disbelief for me for 1 second. What if? Can you imagine? And we both just like looked at each other like, nah, it's not gonna happen. Like, there's just no way, because the Bucs can't have nice things. But then when we knew it was happening, like I couldn't say anything for like 3 days almost. I think like Schefter broke it.
Oh, you
that would have been.
Oh,
you knew. Wait, hold on.
Wait,
I have to interrupt your story.
Close, Carmen.
You knew before anyone else was allowed to know.
Yes, and then even when Schefter reported it and then other people knew, I still couldn't say anything until the Bucs came out with it. So being a team employee, and this was just actually brought up to me at this year's Senior Bowl, and I didn't really think about it like this, but being a team employee, if you say something out of pocket, or something like tampering, like the tampering rules apply to us. So I could technically like cost the team a draft pick if I say the wrong thing. And it's like, oh. And like one of the a guy that covers the Bears, I was at the Senior Bowl with him. He was like, "That's a lot of pressure." I was like, "You know what? Now that you say it, that is a lot of pressure that I've never."
Imagine being called to Bruce Arians' office, like, you got to go see the principal. You
yeah,
your
yeah,
tweet from
and
this
like,
morning, yeah, it costs us a draft pick.
Yeah, no, it would actually probably be to Jason, and Jason already gets annoyed with my tweets. You talk about me not being politically correct. I annoy the shit out of that man, but.
We still love you, Jason.
I'd never be able to hold that job down. I would.
No, you could not.
I mean, I would tweet within the first 5 minutes of being in that building and be like, "Hey, listen, we have to let you go."
Intern.
I'd be done.
But at the same time, you also am like, I was also just like, until I know he physically signed the paper, I can't accept this yet. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't get myself worked up about it. So like, as soon as the pen was to paper, though, I was just like,
you see these grays in the beard? These grays developed in that week, having conversations with Stank, just lapping my pool, just walking around my pool deck. Like, this happened.
I can't imagine knowing it for 3 days. Yeah, I can't imagine knowing it.
Yeah, it was awful. But like, again, it's one of those things where like, yeah, we find out about things so we can get content created, so we can write our articles, so we can get all these packages ready. So they give us a little bit of heads up sometimes, and then plus just from what you hear in the building. And then you have to keep your mouth shut for a while. I will say the whole Gronk thing came about really quickly. Like, I was like texting some of our coaches, like, is this real? And then all of a sudden, like, we broke it. And I was like, whoa, it is real. Like, oh, okay, cool. Why not? Let's just add Gronk.
He's going to be fun to cover for you guys. I'm excited for you. He seems like a fun personality.
Yeah, that was going to be
this year.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to ask, going into this 2020 season, who, now that we've kind of added some crazy faces, who would be your most, the player you're most excited to cover just from a day-to-day standpoint? And also, if you guys will, like, how does the contact now change with COVID with what you guys do in terms of how the players now are kind of separated from everybody else?
Yeah, it changes a lot. And I was actually really excited to talk to Gronk because, so Gronk went to University of Arizona. I went to Arizona State. Him and I are the same age. So we were at school at the same time, and I remember watching him play when we would play Arizona. And I mean, because he was public enemy number one back then even. So I was all ready to get my bets going with him. I'm like, I want to invite to Gronk Beach. I want like all these things if ASU wins, but I have not even officially met the guy yet. So, but I do hear that he's absolutely wonderful, and he's a joy to cover, and he is just so friendly and willing to do things just, to have fun. Like, he likes to have fun with his job, which is hilarious. So I'd probably say him, but I don't know what it's going to look like this year at all, because we're all separated into tiers now, tiered personnel. So tier 1 and 2 is players and coaches, support staff, all that. And they have like their own section of the building, which they always did before, but like there were no barriers. Like, I could go over there whenever I wanted to, hang out over there, go downstairs, talk to guys. If I had a story idea, all it took was me walking downstairs and be like, yo, so-and-so, like, you want to do this? Now we still have to do all of our interviews virtually. We just had Bruce talk today, and he was right downstairs, like legitimately right below me. But I had to watch like the Zoom conference, and it was like, it's just wild trying to now come up with creative stuff and like creative workarounds to something that used to be so easy to do, which I guess I took for granted. Now I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, you got the social media team and the media team, period. The content you guys put out, I mean, obviously I'm not a diehard of any other fan, but it's phenomenal. It really is. It's very, very well done. The Current may as well be, it have its own network. Like, but the Bucs may as well have their own network. It's so well done. Obviously, I eat it up. I wish we had an episode every day.
I can't say enough about these guys. Like, our video department, our social graphics team, like, they are the best in the business, and they have been. And it's really, really cool now to see the fact that we're like in the national conversation and we're relevant, that their work is getting showcased, because I think a lot of people are realizing like they're setting the bar super, super high. And, I love like just all the stuff that I'm always blown away what they're doing.
The Current is definitely probably one of my favorite. It's amazing. It should. I would eat it up if they did a weekly episode all day long.
It's a labor of love. It takes a lot, because it's basically like one of our senior video producer, Stephen Lynch, is the one that pretty much, it's like his baby, and he just, it takes a lot to put that together. Because you think about it, like Hard Knocks, they have an entire production team behind them, so that's really like a one-man show. He gets a lot of the other video producers help out too, but even then, it's only a couple people. So you think, like shooting it, producing it, editing it, all that kind of stuff. I wish it could come out more too, but we produced it in house. So
before we took this show to YouTube, it used to be audio only, and then when we transitioned it to YouTube, I don't know any of this stuff. I kind of taught myself just barely enough. Like, I'm scratching the surface of like, the Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere, but it takes me 3 hours to edit just this 1 hour deal. Like, it's not even that big of a deal what I'm doing. And now when I look back, I'm like, dude, they make that shit so freaking nice, and it's so quality. And now I appreciate it like even more. Like, I'm a graphic designer, so I appreciate it already, but now it's like on a totally different level. But when Hard Knocks was doing what they were doing, I think you said Steven, is that his name? Was he there and kind of just like following, because it looks so similar? Like, is that something where he just kind of keyed in and learned while they were there and absorbed it all in, or was this just something that came from his background anyway?
It came from his background anyway, 100%. But we just as a way to make it more digestible, he definitely wanted to follow more of like the Hard Knocks like model, because that's so effective. There's a reason it's so effective and it's such a popular show. So his background, though, he's been doing stuff like this for so long. He does any of our like really cool features, like the slice feature that Casey does with a bunch of the guys, where it's a lot more in depth. Like that's another one of Steven's kind of babies. And then he has a whole like team with him that they're just like any person that I feel like they get poached. Like, they end up at different teams. Like, the producers that started when I started are all at different teams now, because like people want how these guys, how talented they are. So it's really, really cool to see. And I think that model worked really, really well. And yeah, he gets just some tremendous access, which is awesome.
I mean, the social media game has changed how teams promote and advertise completely. Do you ever have control of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers official Twitter?
What's really funny, so when I took this job, I started as the team's copywriter. Actually, I was doing all of the technical writing for the organization, but which is very dry, but it has to be done right. But then we had this mass exodus essentially of our digital department where people just ended up getting different opportunities at the same time. And so for a portion of that, I started doing what I'm doing now, but I also took the reins of social for like a hot second. And it was terrifying, like absolutely terrifying. Like I can stand behind whatever I say and like, cause it's like my face, but God forbid, do not let me speak for an entire organization because you are just going to get some absolutely off the wall things. And I don't know what I'm doing. Jill, she's like a one-woman band back there and she knows exactly what she's doing. So I'm really proud of her. She's just, it's not as easy as it looks, let me tell you.
It can't be easy. It's literally like having the launch codes and having access to the big red button. I'm good. I'll give
no, listen, Carmen, if they ever give it to you for like just whatever reason, you just immediately, you turn around and you give it to us three and you just let us do it. And then if anything ever happens, you'll just say, you could just say you were hacked. That's it. And just
that's
let
right,
us do it.
yeah.
It'll be so much.
Listen, if
you'd get fired, by the way.
Fired. So I like my job. I really like my job. I would like to keep my job. But yeah.
You have a pretty cool job. I mean, let's be honest. Any of us would trade places with you any day to have the type of exposure you have, the behind the scenes stuff. I love all the behind the scenes tidbits, the photos, the stuff that you yourself produce, even probably with your cell phone, with your iPhone or whatever.
That's all I got.
No, but it's incredible. It really is another layer to, what we ingest as fans. At the end of the day, this is entertainment, right? All of it, everything, the football, it's sport, but it's entertainment, and you're part of that. You're part of that for us. So I know I appreciate it because, like I said, we're addicted to this team, obviously, so we eat all of it up.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I really do. I mean, this is something I've always wanted to do from when I was a little girl. I just love football. I love the game itself, and I think that being that between fans and the team is just like a dream come true for me, honestly, because I get to break down football and talk to fans about what they want to see and be that, being in the middle there is a lot of fun. It really is for me. It doesn't feel like work ever.
Yeah, I mean, I would trade places with you for a day, any moment, because that's
a good idea, Carmen.
We would
promotion.
Love
trade places with Carmen for a day.
I'd do it, man.
Yes.
Listen.
You can go cut hair, and I'll go do. Yeah,
we would want to be NFL players, right? And then if you can't be an NFL player, maybe you want to be an NBA player too. At least you want to work for the team, right? You want to write for the team. Like that's a freaking dream that's an awesome job, and to have that kind of access, like that stuff, that's so freaking cool, man. And like Stank said, we totally appreciate what you do. But with that being said, do you have just this amazing? No, it's not negative. Do you have this amazing story of something? Because you have access that we as fans would never have. Do you have something that's just such a cool fanboy type of moment that has occurred just covering the Bucs and maybe one of your favorite players on the team?
God, there's a ton. What actually probably sticks out the most to me, and I kind of alluded to it in an article I wrote, but it was with a coach, and it was when I was doing Q&As with our coordinators after they had just gotten hired on last year. And it was my sit down with Todd Bowles. And I was I think I saved him for last because I was absolutely terrified to go into that office. I didn't know Bowles from, everybody had told me that I knew that had worked with him or whatever. They said he was a nice guy, but he came from New York. He was a head coach for for the Jets. I just knew him from the media, right? And I was just completely intimidated. So I walk in there and we sit down and he's got I forgot who it was. I think it was the Temptations or Al Green just blaring. And I'm like, okay. And so then he turns it off and we do this interview and he was so wonderful, just so nice, was laughing, smiling. And I was like, I literally don't think I ever saw you smile at the podium for the Jets. And then when I got up, I forget how the conversation even went, but I alluded to something that previous staff had been wonderful to me too. And I was like, oh yeah, I was learning some of our defensive calls from our linebackers coach last year. And he was like, well, what did you learn? Show me. And I was like, show you? He's like, yeah. He's like, I assume that they put you on a whiteboard. I was like, well, yeah. He's like, well, get up there, show me. And I was like, what? So I literally got up on a whiteboard in Todd Bowles' office and started drawing out the last play that I had just learned, which was some like split 3-tech, look. And so I'm like drawing like the little bubbles, and I was like, this is outrageous. And he was like, you know what? Why don't you come in and we'll do like some tutoring sessions? And he's like, I'll teach you our defense. And I was like,
so jealous right now.
Oh my
what?
God.
That's incredible.
That is the coolest story.
It's sick. That's the coolest
That
story
is so
ever.
cool.
And I was like, and I even put that in the article because I was just like, I was so ungodly blown away that I had gotten up on a whiteboard and then continued to. He did. He taught me so much already.
So you can essentially, if he gets, he's out for a couple weeks, you can call the defense.
Defensive coordinator.
Not in the slightest.
You definitely could call. You
Awesome.
You got on the whiteboard. You tutored you. You know the defense. Okay, cool.
His defense is absolutely and I don't have a lot to compare it to. Obviously, I've never gotten that level of access before, but to see it work, it's like I'll think I know what's coming and then something completely different. Like it even shocks me. And so I'm just like, I got to hand it to these guys because it is so incredibly creative and it thrives on just all the confusion it creates. And it's diabolical in so many ways. And I'm just like, that's why I talk about defense all the time, because I'm obsessed with it. And I think that this defense it's outrageous. I can't wait for Brady to go against it in camp.
Well, if you step in as defensive coordinator ever, you can at least dictate that Lavonte goes in at least every 3 snaps on a blitz. That way we can get over this bullshit of the disrespect this man gets, right?
Disrespect is real.
Holy, like
100?
We had to get you on here to ask you about the disrespect, because you're like all over Twitter about how disrespectful like people are being to Lavonte David.
No, I know. It's heartbreaking. Like, this man will never advocate for himself either, because he's the sweetest, most wonderful, perfect person ever that should not exist as a human. So, like, he's not going to brag on himself ever, and he's just going to put his head down and keep working. And I actually thought about it, and I was like, is his lack of recognition, like, fueling him? Like, if he actually got recognition, would he still, like, is this, like, some, like, vicious cycle that's actually making him better? But I think that he'd be fine either way. I don't know. The thing I keep reminding myself is the top 100 is it's like within 6% of the top players in the world. So like to think about it that way, like it's nice to be included, period. But then I also think about like, you're really going to tell me 99 other players are better than this man? Absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. He's the picture of consistency, which I think he's been a victim of essentially, because everyone just expects him to do well, and he does, and he delivers, and everyone's like, well, business as usual. Lavonte's good. Cool. I'm like, Lavonte's great.
Well, I mean, now that Brady's here and we're nationally, worldwide relevant, I mean, the guy's going to get his shine eventually. I mean, if you think about Derek Brooks was not an outspoken guy either. He was kind of the quiet leader on defense. Obviously, he was definitely known to talk shit on the field, but he wasn't like Sap. There were so many other personalities that were way bigger than Derek, but Derek eventually did get the respect he deserved. And I'm hoping that that's one of the side effects of Brady and Gronk and the whole dog and pony show that comes with them, the national media following us everywhere. Lavonte will be one of the guys that benefits from that.
I mean, I would think that, if you take away the Super Bowl from Derek Brooks, do you think he still goes down in like NFL history as well as he has?
No, because
he was part of that 10-year run where they were like top 5 and they were consistently up there with sacks and like that's the thing that hurts Lavonte is he's been a part of so many bad defenses, and that I think is what kind of is taking its toll on him. But you're right. Can you name 99 other players better? No. Can you name even 3 linebackers better?
No, you can't.
It's tough.
But touching on what you said though, Carmen, I think the thing with Derek Brooks, if you take away the Super Bowl, he redefined the position though, kind of like that. You know what I mean? Because when he came in, it was like, you weigh how much, and you're playing linebacker. You should be a safety. So I think that gets him in that in his production over a 10-year stretch, probably. But the Super Bowl was definitely the cherry on top, and obviously the first
Yeah,
ballot.
I'm not arguing that obviously he deserves absolutely every single accolade and probably more. But I just think that, Lavonte, again, he's just been a part of bad defenses, but his individual production, he's going into his 9th year at this point, and he has been at the top of the league in every single year as far as his position goes, and he fits so well. And he's been also, we don't talk about this enough either, he just switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense like that.
Nothing.
Effortless.
Like nothing. He had played, 7 years under a 4-3 defense, and now, he just switches right away, and he is the captain of this 3-4 defense, which looks drastically different than anything that he's ever played in. And it's wild. No one talks about that. I'm like, this guy, what does he have to do?
Still making plays.
And even when he played 4-3, he played in 2 types of 4-3. He played in that aggressive, it was almost like an aggressive blitz heavy type of 4-3 with Schiano, and then they go back to that cover 2 with Lovey, and then they go to the 3-4. Or first they go to the weird shit with Mike Smith. I don't even know what that was called.
Yeah, very predictable for sure.
And then they go to the 3-4 with Todd Bowles. And I'm trying not to say stuff to get you in trouble, but it is what it is.
No.
But
what's wild
he
too about
transitioned
Bowles'
perfectly.
defense, yeah, and the thing is, I think what helps too, though, is that Bowles' defense takes a lot of concepts from a 4-3. If you look at the sub package, you've got 4 down linemen, so it's a 4-3 with that nickel when you bring in the nickel. So he incorporates a lot of that kind of mentality as far as an even front goes. But it's still you have your outside linebackers, you're creating pressure from the outside. That's the point of this defense. And Lavonte, again, won't get a lot of sacks that way, but Bruce just said it today, actually, and he said that he wants to see an increased role in the pass rush for both Devin and Lavonte. And I was like, if we can make that happen, which I think we can.
Well, the X's and O's better than anyone else would, so.
Yeah.
So yeah. I remember you going on another podcast last year and talking about, the variety of the defense and how excited you were to see it and stuff like that. But you just touched on it. One of my favorite players, one of my favorite followers on Twitter, he is if his tweets don't get you jacked up, I don't know what to tell you. But touching on Devin White, how excited is in the building and you personally to see him going into year 2 healthy, not missing the first few games? Because when he came on, I was excited about the pick. Some people, I get it, but when he came on, I think it was the Seattle game when he tracked down that running back and forced that fumble. He just blasted. It was just when he came on fast, and it was like, whoa, that's why I was picked 5th overall. How excited is it going into year 2 for him in the building and for you personally?
Yeah, I can't wait to see, what he ends up doing. And I feel like the learning curve was just cut in half now. And he is another one that's just benefited tremendously from starting next to Lavonte David, because David, they really do have this big brother, little brother relationship both on and off the field. And so I feel like Devin is very, very instinctual. He's obviously super talented, super fast. I'm putting him up against, a lot of even defensive backs. And he needed to kind of get there with the mental part of the game, right? And that's where Lavonte comes in. And so they just complement each other so incredibly well. The dude finished with back-to-back Rookie of the Month honors, when he, at the end of the season. And his numbers, obviously, with missing all those games due to injury, didn't stack up against other players, but I think if he would have been on that same track and had a full season, would have been nuts. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what he can do now that the system is the same. And, this is all he's known at the pro level. So I just feel like he'll be able to pick up right where he left off. And both him and Lavonte going in healthy and staying healthy would be absolutely incredible. Those two being the anchor of that defense in the middle. I think you'll see a lot of Devin White, though, coming downhill for sure. You're going to see a lot of him getting into the backfield. And I feel like he may end up with more sacks than Lavonte.
Go ahead and draft him in my IDP league. Check.
I mean, speaking of youthful enthusiasm, this defense, especially on the back end, is full of young guys. Mike Edwards, I thought had a good season last year. For rookies, you're going to make mistakes, and then Todd Bowles' defense, which is, like you said before, difficult to learn. You got guys like Jamel Dean, and then some of the second and third year players out there too. It seems like that secondary is trending in the right direction. How excited are you to see them also add, some pieces in the draft to that secondary, and what's your overall feeling on the secondary as a whole?
I really wish that we would have been in the building when we were doing the draft, because I was, especially after last year, like where we took all those defensive backs, like I was like, there's no way we're getting defensive players in this draft. Like it's going to be all offense. And when we took Antoine in the second round, I yelped. I was like trying to like write my little story like really quick, but my hands were like shaking. I was so excited. This defense is one of those that the secondary makes a big difference. And Todd Bowles, being a former safety in this league, he has carried that mentality with him throughout his entire coaching career. So the safety position makes a huge difference. And in fact, like they're really supposed to be the ones that are kind of calling it, because think about it, they're at the back level. They can see everything in front of them. They're making a bunch of checks. Like the safety is responsible for so much in this defense. And they also kind of like it opens them up to all of the like making plays on the ball. That's the one thing that Todd said, going into the season is we saw all the pass breakups. The Bucs finished with most pass breakups of any team in the league, but now we want to turn those into interceptions. And Antoine is a guy that had 7 interceptions his last year at Minnesota. So I'm so excited to see him work. And I don't know what the realistic expectation is for him coming in because of this really weird preseason and not having the offseason work. But I do think that safety room could really, and I don't think it's just coach speak when these guys are saying that it could end up being a strength of this defense, because you've got a lot of good options there. Dakota Dixon is coming back. I think we really need to talk more about him. The coaches were so high on him in camp before he got his shoulder, he had to have his shoulder surgery. So like between that and then the young corners, those corners, I can't say enough about, like Sean, Murphy Bunting. Jamel Dean is, Bruce just said it today. He's like, I think he can be a top 10 corner in this league easy. Look what he did to DeAndre Hopkins last year. And you're like, yeah, he shut him down. And he had a learning curve that Seattle game, but came back better. And again, he's just another one that's the experience is going to help 100% after last year coming into this year.
They asked Bruce today about Justin Evans. And talking about Winfield being drafted, it kind of works out because unfortunately for Justin, he's been injured and it's been kind of a long, slow process of getting back. But having drafted another safety in that room, and I think they're set, honestly, in their secondary. Like I know a lot of people, especially when he was first drafted, Carlton Davis, people didn't really like him. I don't know why. I liked him. I was like, he's got everything there. He's just got to put it together, and he started to put it together. And we're all fans of Jamel Dean. We love SMB. Like there's a lot of swagger to those 3 guys. SMB especially. Dude acts like he's Rondé Barber and Sherman all mixed into one. It's freaking awesome. And to have I have got like a Winfield added into that, and eventually like growing all those together. I don't even know. Like we went from not having any guys in the secondary, now all of a sudden we've got a plethora of guys in the secondary, and they're all playmakers, which is huge. And that's the guy I'm most excited about. I think it's the same goes for Christian and Stank. Antoine is the guy that we are the most excited to watch play. Yep. I mean, I know we drafted a stud in the first round, but dude, I cannot wait to see number 31 out there. I think he's gonna wear number 31, maybe.
Because Jordan switched to 30. This is gonna mess me up so bad because Jordan switched to 33. Carlton is now 24. SMB is now 23. This is.
I'm actually really excited, and I had this conversation with Stank because a couple players go to the barbershop. I keep them unnamed, but the guy that they're really excited in the backfield, and the guy that I wouldn't say underrated, but didn't get the shine or the hype that Jamel Dean, with Jamel being on the outside, facing the number one receiver more often, but the guy that had a lot more pressure, a lot more in his place, SMB. I'm excited to see SMB the second year, because it's a lot more from the neck up at that position he was playing.
I don't think people realize how different the nickel and the outside corner positions are at this level, especially. I mean, I know that in some teams in college don't even play nickel, right? Or like Sean came in never playing nickel ever. And to do it in this defense is insane. So then he was going back and forth and, injuries kept him kind of shifting around and they were trying to figure out how to best use him. And so it wasn't a matter of him not knowing what to do. He just sometimes would forget what position he was even in. because he's like, well, I know what the nickel's supposed to do here, but am I nickel right now or am I outside corner? Like, it's one of those things where for a young player to get acclimated to it, it's really difficult. But now he has settled in, and you saw him settle in by the end of last year. So now he's so much fun to be around. It's so much like talking to him about each game. Like, I feel like I try to be like his personal like hype girl all the time, or I try to like, I mean, I'm all these guys hype girls, right? Like, that's my job. I hype these guys up constantly, and I love it. But Sean, there's just something about him, man. He's going to be something special, 100%. So,
well, that's a bad man. I'm gonna just let you know that. Everybody talks about Carlton; he's a bad man too, and all, but
he is.
SMB's a bad man,
dude. It's that swagger, bro. It's that swagger, man. I'm telling you.
And he's got 23 right now. Say less.
Yeah, seriously.
But but Carlton's got 24, and that 24 is dear to my heart.
Get off your dial-up, bro. Carmen.
Yeah, well.
I'm here. We're good.
Carmen, I wanted to ask, because you mentioned defense, how much you love defense, and it hypes you up, and obviously it's I think it's ingrained in the DNA of this city, defense, right? We're so hyped about Tom Brady and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Gronkowski. You know, we can go on and on. Like, our offense is ridiculous, right? But that's why I said earlier that Devin White is one of my favorite follows on Twitter, because he said, whoa, hold up. We can win on defense too now. And when you look at the front seven.
Right.
Like, the front seven is filthy. If the young guys can come along and keep on that trajectory, wow. Like, Devin's right. We can win on defense too.
And we're gonna have to. I was gonna say, go ahead, Carmen. You picked up exactly what I was gonna say. We're gonna have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you look at, even, this is one thing I brought up too when we signed Brady. I was like, if you look at the Patriots defensive teams, the first 10 years of Brady, so his first, 3 championships, he had top 5, top 10 defenses every single year. Yep. And it helps. You need that. You need the defense to give the ball back to the offense. You need extra possessions in this league, because otherwise it can be a shootout, sure. And if it is a shootout, the team that has more possessions is going to win the game. So at that point, the defense, their sole responsibility or their sole goal right now is to get that ball back to the offense. And I don't want to have to rely on the offense to score 50 points, because we've tried that and it doesn't work, clearly. So you need a defense that can also stop them.
You can look in our own division. Drew Brees didn't win a championship in New Orleans until they started playing good defense down there. Or and they can score with anybody. You look at the Chiefs figured it out this year. I mean, they I think everything clicked, but that's another team that can score with anybody. Just being able to score with anybody isn't going to be enough. I think we're going to be one of those teams that's going to be able to score with anybody, but we better also make stops. You can't live off of just one side of the ball, like you said. We are ultra confident that our special teams, I don't know if you know this, but this is the official podcast of Matt Gay. Matt Gay is one. Matt Gay, I'm surprised he's not on the cast with us right now.
Hold on a second.
What?
You do there? The official Hall of Fame kicker, Matt Gay. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, Hall of Fame. Sorry, bro. God, I'm on vacation, bro. I've been drinking.
When you say his name, you throw that respect on there. All right, it's HOF in front of that. All right. Yeah. Always. Matt's one of us. It's Loose Cannon's podcaster, then Bucs kicker. That's the order it goes in. But we already know that the special teams is going to be incredible this year. Matt's going to hold it down. It's probably going to be the best unit in the league this year. The defense needs to do their part. And, you may not be able to say it, but you can point to an incident last year when everything changed. And that's when our head coach decided that we're going to jettison a first-round draft pick. If you're not getting it done on this team, you can go play somewhere else. And there was a noticeable difference in that secondary with those young guys. After the leader of the secondary was cut cold turkey, they came out there and played with a whole different level of intensity. It was like night and day for me. You can see it. It was incredible.
No, I think you're dead on. And that's not something that a lot of people have talked about. That's not something, it's obviously a sensitive subject to talk about, hey, you got rid of a player and now you're a ton better. But I mean, that's the business of this league. That happens. And it's not even a knock to Vernon necessarily. It's about his fit with the system. And if you don't fit into the system, that's this game, you know, and you need the personnel, you need the pieces to fit the puzzle. So I, you know, apparently, like, I guess, you know, unfortunately, I don't think he was a piece to fit in that puzzle. And now it freed up opportunities for guys that did fit and that took advantage of those opportunities. And I mean, seeing what Jamel went through in Seattle, and then as such a young player, I mean, he was in every morning after that with Todd Bowles at, like, I don't even know how early in the morning, but very early, like 5:30 in the morning, going over extra things and just making sure that that was never going to happen again. He never wanted that to happen again, and it didn't. And the next week, you see him go off, get his first interception on top of 4 passes defensed, and you're like, okay, this guy, like, seeing that hunger in these young guys, sometimes that's what it takes. And they have it. So I'm pumped about it going into this year because they still have it.
Back to Jamel, I don't think I've ever seen a corner rangier, as wiry, like with the length. That guy is a beast out there. The wingspan, it's incredible.
Yeah,
he looks like a linebacker. I mean, he looks like Calvin Johnson playing a linebacker as a corner.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
I do think that you like. I mean, he must just look. I feel like he does look bigger in pads. Because, like, I feel like he's still very much a corner build to me. Like, when you see him, especially, like, out of his, like, pads and stuff, like, he's very lanky. He's very, like, he's very tall. Like, not very tall, but, like, he's, you know, he's just your model build for that corner, that outside corner position. And he is very, like, cut. Like, he is all muscle, 100%. But I don't know that I would, like, especially, like, I would not put him out there as a linebacker.
Maybe it's because we were just used to seeing these smaller guys. But, you know, kind of back to what you were saying about him going in there, you know, maybe 5, 6 in the morning working with Todd Bowles after that Seattle game. That isn't something that we were seeing from Vernon. Like, there wasn't an accountability there. It seems like I'm here, I made it, and let's have some fun. But, you know, there's still work that has to be done. And Jamel, yeah, he took his lumps, but he put in the work. Like, there's accountability to that. Then you bring in a guy like Tom Brady now, and that's going to elevate itself even higher because that's what he does, and that's what he brings out of everyone around him. And if you're not with that, you won't be here very long. Yeah. The other thing too is when they decided to make that move, it also kind of coincided with JPP starting to finally turn it on, and it kind of worked all well together. And I was like, man, when this thing starts to hum for Todd Bowles and these guys are here again, this is going to be a seriously monstrosity of a freaking defense. And it's going to be important this season because there's not going to be the chemistry building that occurs in the preseason. There's not going to be the training camp stuff. So you need a defense that can at least hold you through the first half of a game in New Orleans in week 1 when you're still trying to shake off that rust. You know, lay Drew Brees on his ass a few extra times and then get the ball back to Tom and then let us do some work.
That's a great point too about JPP. So he's another one that, like, people aren't talking about enough, I feel like, either. Because, I mean, the dude came back from breaking his neck. And then, like, his first game back, it's a sack. And then you really saw it, though, because at that point, it was midway through the season. Shaq had kind of not, like, he plateaued a little bit because I feel like people were finally getting wise to how good Shaq is. Like, no one was game planning for him yet. And once they started to do that, he started to have to, you know, kind of figure out a workaround. Well, then you get JPP back, and now you're giving offensive lines a hell of a predicament to have to decide who to block. And that's what this defense, like, thrives off of, is these guys that you don't know who's coming, and any of them could. So you saw that it was a direct correlation to, like, Shaq's second half success was when JPP came back. So, because you can't leave, if you leave either of those guys one-on-one, they're most likely going to beat you.
Make you pay. That was probably my favorite offseason, like, re-signed player was JPP. Yeah. And I talked a lot with these guys about it. For me, obviously, the impact on the field, it's important. But, you know, you hear the stories in the locker room and the respect that he commands. And when you have guys like that, as Coach would use his term, when your give a shit meter is really high, those are the guys you need in the locker room, because we've seen it the last 12 years. We've seen the guys that are, as Gruden would say, you got football players and then you got football players. As happening in the league, you know what I mean? And JPP, he's won a Super Bowl. He's won multiple Super Bowls. He's blown his hand off, came back from that, messed up his knee the first year he was here. I think you probably remember that. Hurt, played through that, still balling. He breaks his neck and comes back and still has almost double-digit sacks. Like, the guy's a machine. And the accountability, right? We go back to that. But switching gears, Carmen, how excited are you guys? Are you going to get to travel with the team? How excited are you guys about seeing that matchup? Drew Brees, Tom Brady, two future first ballot Hall of Famers. Like, I'm gonna have a watch party at my house. These two guys are coming to my house. We're gonna do some chicken wings. All that stuff is gonna be great. But how excited are you guys? And do you get to travel with the team this year?
I might join you because I don't know the answer to that yet.
Invitation has been extended.
There it is. Yeah, there it is.
No, wait. No. Hold on. You will not partake in wings with us unless you can answer these two questions, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This is a big moment.
This is a big moment,
Carmen.
All right,
this is a big moment.
Two questions.
Right, go
I
ahead.
don't know that I'm going to have a good answer, but
Do you eat your wings dry rub or do you need them wet?
This is not going to be a good answer. I eat them both.
That's
depends
fair.
on my
Right
plate.
Right down the middle. That's fair.
Like if
Very
I'm just going for
political.
like straight up like medium hot wings, wet. But then like if I want like lemon pepper, I like them wet. I feel like I like a lemon pepper dry rub better than I like
Yes.
like a wet whatever.
But-
All right.
but
So
spicy
I like them
wings are
both.
wet. We win.
Okay.
Me and Sam are wet.
You've passed one. Now the second one is.
This is a bigger
This
one.
is the
This
deal
bigger.
breaker. This is
Yeah,
the
this is
big
the
guy
bigger.
right here, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Christian. We've totally hijacked your question. Sorry, but all right. When you dip,
I don't know yet if I'm traveling.
when you dip in your wings, are you going ranch or are you going blue cheese?
Ranch 1,000%, but also
Walking away.
No.
Hey, wait,
No.
I will tell you, I'm
Ew.
allergic to blue cheese. I'm allergic to blue cheese. So I can't actually even have blue cheese. But even if I could have blue cheese, I think that I would go with ranch.
We have to get with the judges on this one. Is that like is that
Yeah, I mean that's a medical.
way?
Yeah, I don't think her vote even counts now. It doesn't count. It doesn't count.
All right.
The medical waiver. I get a medical waiver off of it, right?
Yeah.
Medical
First
waiver.
ever blue cheese versus ranch medical waiver moment. This is
Yeah. Either that or did Trevor Sickema get to you? Did he switch you over to the team ranch?
Listen,
all right.
We have a loose cannons. What's it called? Exemption list. You're just on that list now. You know, it's
medical exemption. Medical exemption. Just hey, Carmen, real quick though, you need to bring your own ranch to our party because there won't be any there. No.
There also won't be any
Do I
potato
get points
salad.
if I make my own ranch? Do I get more points if I make my
If you got those kind of skills, see, I will try homemade ranch, not some Hidden Valley shit. You can keep that.
No. I like to think that I'm a pretty damn good cook, so that I like to do things from scratch if I can.
Hold on now. Now the invitation, like for real, because we're gonna have a wing competition between the three of us.
Yeah.
Some judges.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's gonna get serious. I make a mean wing. Sammer, they look seasoned right. I haven't tasted them.
Yeah, we haven't tasted them yet. Because of COVID, we don't even know.
Stank just cheats because his wife does the cooking and then he wants to take credit.
Hey, listen, I'm her inspiration, so her wings are my wings.
No, I can't give Stank any credit for anything in terms of in the kitchen because I mean,
well, I can cook though. He's
one of those dudes that eats potato salad with raisins.
I don't. I hate potato salad because I don't eat mayonnaise. Ugh.
Oh,
I don't like any condiments actually. So I don't like ketchup. I don't.
Oh
like
my
mustard,
god, you're like my stepdaughter. She hates all condiments. It's weird.
I love tomatoes. I love them in every other form. I just can't get behind ketchup. I don't know
What
why.
about barbecue sauce? Is that a condiment?
Yeah, and I'm not like super like if I go to a barbecue place and get like a pulled pork sandwich, I won't put extra barbecue, but like if the pork is obviously in barbecue, I'll be okay with it. But like I'm not like slathering that and it's too much. It's too heavy. I don't know. I want to taste the food that I'm eating.
I feel you. I respect that.
Since we're talking about food though, and you're kind of around the players,
I want to hear the excitement about New Orleans, man. You guys hijacked.
my bad.
My bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Travel.
Honestly, one of the things I want to ask Tom most is if this duel with Drew Brees played into how much it played into his decision to come here. Because I feel like it did. I mean, you have a chance to chase the guy that like has you in with how competitive Tom is. Like you have a chance to directly impact how this guy does. And this is the guy you've been going back and forth with league-wide for years. And you're going to be compared to. So, like, I have to think that, like, that played into it a little bit. I don't know how much. But I'm really excited to see this. And, like, you just see, like, the elevated style of play. Because, like, I feel like New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Drew Brees for the Saints is a game I would turn on any day of the week. Like if the Bucs aren't on it, like, you know, like that's the game I'm watching, right? And now it's like you got Tom Brady on our team taking on Drew Brees with the Saints, and it's for a division. It's for the division. Like,
Carmen, this is how I see it. I'm gonna get you real excited with this analogy.
Okay.
When Jordan came to the Bulls, the Pistons were the Pistons were dominating. Obviously, that Jordan willed his team, you know, through the Pistons to the championship. Yes. Now we have our own Michael Jordan coming to our team. We're gonna be facing the Saints, who are kind of like the Pistons. They've been owning us for a little while, and is it going to be enough? Is that Brady will? Is he going to be able to like Jordan, will the rest of this team into this unit so we are championship caliber? Not just playoffs. Are we championship caliber automatically when you got the GOAT in the building?
I gotta say,
I'm going to tell you yes, and it's not just bias because this team is built to win regardless. Mm-hmm. This team has been built to win. And like it has gotten the pieces slowly but surely the last couple of years. And adding a guy that you're not going to need him to will this team. And that's another thing I've said so many times too this offseason and now into preseason. You don't need Brady to be Brady. You don't need Gronk to be Gronk. You can, like, I'm totally fine with getting a 43-year-old Brady because we don't need Brady in his prime at this point. You've got weapons galore. Anybody can throw to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. These guys are going to, and now Gronk, and now OJ, and now Cam, and then however this running back situation ends up. Like, that is set up for anyone. So I think the biggest thing that Brady brings is that accountability and that will, but I don't think he needs it. I think we're a championship team. Easy.
I like your confidence, for sure.
Don't get any idea, Sammer, because I saw the look on your face there when she said anybody can throw. You can't do it, Sammer. Flag football doesn't count. Okay?
No, I didn't. I wasn't saying that about me. I was. My eyes got wide because I mean, what does that mean? Anybody could throw it to them. Okay.
Don't try and make that twist that in.
I'm not. Don't worry. I just had to do it with my eyes.
Yeah.
What I meant.
No, but won a flag football championship 2 years in a row, and he's been the quarterback at the helm. But no, not you, Sammer. You have to be able to see over the line. Okay.
Listen, I've got my 6-year-old in the front yard every day. All right. We're working. He's catching 55 to 60 passes in a row from 25-yard ranges. All right. He's throwing no problem 25 to 30-yard spirals. I mean,
the only problem is he's learning from you, bro. And I know you throw like a. I was gonna say like a girl, but I didn't want to offend Carmen.
Man. No, I've got fundamentals, bro. The only reason I'm not in the league is because I'm small, bro. Back then they wouldn't let small guys like Russell into the league. That's why that was what kept me away from the league.
What are you talking about? The first round draft pick last year he's like 4 feet tall, bro. You could have done it. It's all about will.
Bro, when I was going in the NFL, it was a long time ago.
When I was going into the NFL.
That's how that works.
Yeah. That's how listen, we'll get into all that later. It doesn't have to be right now. I don't want to talk about that right now. It's fine. But no, back to the Tom thing. Tom will be the rudder that this team is needed. Like, steer that ship, keep us focused. When we get into that huddle, there's no unnecessary excitement and like the confidence that he's going to bring to that huddle in a moment that needs that confidence. Like, okay, we got Tom. We got this. Let's go line up. Let's do our job. Tom will make sure we get everything else finished. That's huge. And we're going to fucking destroy the Saints week 1. I don't know if Carmen's allowed to say shit like that, but dude, fuck it. We're going to destroy that fucking Saints team. Fucking destroy them. 37 to fucking 9.
I'm proud of both of you right now because both of you, Stanks, little speech
Michael
there, and now yours.
The Michael Jordan speech? Yeah.
You guys got me a little emotional, and you know why they have me emotional, Carmen? Because you said it at the beginning of this podcast, and we're the Bucs, and we can't have nice things. I've had things for 17 years, Carmen, and I'm not going to be able to go possibly. This is
I know. We're gonna see. I want it for Bucs fans. I know. Trust me. I grew up in Chicago. I was a very long-suffering Bears fan growing up, so I feel your pain. I really do. I couldn't. No, I mean, the best quarterback.
You will never feel the pain of having Bo Jackson say no, thank you to an opportunity to play in the NFL.
I had Jay Cutler as the best quarterback.
Or Jake Plummer saying,
I like Jay Cutler.
No, I said Jake.
I like him too, but I don't know if I want to rest my franchise on the guy. But yeah, that was the best quarterback of my childhood.
But did Jake Plummer tell you no? I'm just gonna go live in a cabin. Did Jake?
Yeah,
Plummer,
he did.
Did Jake Plummer literally pay you guys? Here's $3 million back. I don't want to play for you.
Jake Plummer paid us not to play for us.
Paid us $3, $4 million.
That shit you say to your boy, like you couldn't pay me to wear those shoes.
That's my Arizona State boy. They're a different breed over there. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Carmen, I appreciate you coming on here and dealing with the weirdness that comes with the show. But you were an awesome guest. No joke. Like you were awesome. I love what you do for the Bucs. We don't miss any of your articles. I know you do a cool little show with Casey Phillips. I don't know if you wanted to plug that or what. But,
yeah. Thursday mornings, come hang out with us. We have a cup of coffee and we talk some Bucs football. I take fan questions. We take fan questions and just, weirder the better. Not too weird. I realize who I'm saying that to. Appropriate weird questions are welcome.
Sammer. Listen, Sammer was trying to get your attention by being weird, and all I did was tweet a Lil Wayne gif at you, and I knew that you would see it, and here we are.
Now you know. Now, that's what I said to Sammer
I didn't know.
When I looked at the DM, I was like, now you know how to get my attention. You just have to.
Everybody watching right now, tweet Lil Wayne gifs at Carmen.
The thing is, I didn't know that, and two, my phone and Twitter, my keyboard, it only has DJ Khaled gifs. It doesn't give me any other option. That's the thing.
Carmen, you're gonna love this. So Coach Lowe, who's like, she's cool with us. She's been cool with us for a while. Out of the blue, I guess she follows and watches the show. Out of the blue, she starts tweeting DJ Khaled gifts, and obviously Sammer looks like Khaled's younger, much less successful brother. But Coach Lowe is out there tweeting the Khaled gifts.
So she's the best. She talk about a good follow on social. That's love.
I agree.
She's great.
We're trying to get her on.
Her own players, which I love.
We're trying to get her on, but she's got to get approval because we're kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you coming on here.
You made an appearance.
It's our girl, from the 813, Carmen. I know her, Carmen. I used to know her from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate it. You blessed us up on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? And, we got Tom Brady now. We're going to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Bless us. Thank you for coming on the show. You were lying. You know what I'm saying? Lying. You're beautiful. You're loyal. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Signing off, loose cannons. Peace.
I can't believe you just said that.